Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Chad.
This week, we're doing a double feature, Porno and His House.
You guys hear that?
The science of porn is well known. The human brain, when aroused by erotic images, dumps chemicals into the bloodstream which send the viewer into full throttle, give me more mode.
No, that's right, and we may think that we're just being curious, but that will turn into an obsession. Guys, when we watched that movie, we unleashed a sex demon. See, kids, that's why I don't watch porno.
Porno. Yay.
Yeah.
The best thing about this film is the name. The End. That was our review. We give it one knife. Now, next movie. Just kidding. Right off the bat, the movie holds to its name.
Oh, yeah. It starts off with just opens up with a crazy sex scene.
Yeah, well, it's not a crazy sex scene. It's just two random older people fucking, but they're like fucking in front of a window, so it's like they want people to see them, but this town is supposedly like majorly like religious. It's like a Christian town.
Yeah, it's set in the 90s, and not only is the town that way, all the people who are the stars of the movie, the main characters, are all super ultra conservative Christians, supposedly.
Yeah, it is set in the 90s, and there's two guys, teenagers, watching these people go at it, and they're going at it.
Yeah, they're going after good. Then the kids are just like, we've watched this for a while. I guess it's time to go on to work. They go to work at the movie theater, which is showing a double billing of A League of Their Own and Encino Man.
Encino Man.
Which I went to look. I don't think those were out the same time, were they?
I don't know.
Maybe I'll double check.
I think so. I mean, they were like, it came out in the 90s. That's close enough.
Close enough. But so they're there on a Friday night, and they're going to, since they've worked all week, they're going to watch one of the movies on their own at night, which, is a thing that happens in theaters. But they accidentally let a crazy homeless guy in who just happens to blunder through the barely disguised doorway behind a curtain. I love how all these people have worked here for years, and none of them have looked behind the curtain to discover the doorway with the boards just nailed across it. No door, just a doorway, and an upside-down cross drawn on the boards. Now, these are all ultra-conservative Christians. No one's looked behind the curtain at any point and noticed this.
No, because you just said they're ultra-conservative Christians. They're not going to be looking behind curtains, just like they're not coming out of the closet.
Well, that's true, I guess.
Quote, quote. Well, it happens later. One of the characters is, in the closet. But let me just read the description. I'm going to read what everyone can just go and Google, what Google has to say about this film. It says, for repressed religious teens and a straight-edge projectionist working at a small-town movie theater in the 90s, discover a secret screening room filled with vintage X-rated exploitation films. Playing one of the old film reels unleashes a succubus named Lilith. Real original there.
Well, yeah.
Who attempts to seduce each one of them to steal their souls. Now, the runtime on this movie is like 3 hours long.
What's the actual runtime?
I have no idea.
90 minutes?
It's 98 minutes, but it's the longest 98 minutes of your life.
There's a lot of padding in the movie.
There's so much padding. I was just like, I just hope she just kills everybody. I don't even care about anyone. There is no character. It tries to have character development, but there isn't. Oh, well, we have a cat to join the podcast. Here we go. Tabby. She's saying hello. She also did not care for the film.
Yeah, the thing is, they could have done something interesting with it because most of the horror movies out there are about teenagers that go out to party. They're going to drink. They're going to have sex. They're going to do drugs. So it could have been an interesting twist to have the teenagers that are all going to be, straight-laced and they're very religious. They're not going to indulge in any of that kind of behavior. That could have been a different twist on a horror movie. Maybe they're all, religious. They know how to, they can quote the Bible passages and different things to, fight evil or something. I don't know. They could have come up with something.
Wow. Christian Avengers? Is that what you're saying? It's going to be Christian Avengers?
Yeah, something. I don't know. But it could have been a twist on it to be different. But instead, it's immediately when the one guy says, "Oh yeah, I spent the summer at camp. Sorry, I didn't write to anyone. I was busy." Right away, I thought, well, he was at gay conversion camp. They found out he was gay, and they're trying to convert him to being straight again. And that's exactly what it was. There just wasn't any real surprises to any of the characters. Everyone was pretty one-dimensional,
Yeah, it is pretty one-dimensional. And the movie that they find is even
the outtakes from Antrim.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Maybe the people know each other and they're like, look, we got these outtakes. You could just use them, make into a movie. Whatever you need to do there, and just fill in with some shit here and there and whatever. The movie they find in the basement. The guy calls it a European titty movie. And it's just very artsy, it's the girl standing there, she's naked, she has a fake, they couldn't, I guess nowadays, you can't find women with real bush. So she has a carpet laid onto her vagina.
It's very obviously
there's no way that was
wig.
Yeah, it was a vagina wig. There's no way that was not going to be in. But there also is a thing you can't show lips in a film. That takes you to a whole other rating. I think this is TV MA. And it's unrated, right? Because it wasn't released in the theater.
Yeah, this was all video on demand,
So just very strange. And she's just standing there, and then she's a weird smile, and then there's a pentagram over her face, and then it's red light, and then there's a guy dressed in, he has the fucking Bahamut, what is it?
Baphomet.
Baphomet fucking mask, and then he's drenched in blood, and there's flashing. It's the opposite of the Blair Witch, not the Blair Witch. I'm sorry. I was thinking The Ring. It's the opposite of the Ring video, where it's just this looks like something that was made in college as an independent artsy film, and it's just terrible. I would have not stood there the whole time watching this film. There was nothing. There was no one even really fucking in the thing, really. I mean, I think there was maybe one-ish scene where there was,
sex, but yeah, most of it was just and I guess that's part of the thing is the people in there are so ultra conservative Christian that just the sight of boobs freaked out the one guy. He was like, "Oh no, this thing's got to go."
Yeah. Oh my God, boobs? No. And there was no penis shots. Well, there actually was later on. We'll get to that. So in the film that they're watching, the film wasn't intriguing enough for me to be oh, I did like the concept that it was not set in today and it wasn't set in the fucking 80s. Love the 80s, but not every movie needs to be set in the 80s. I liked that it was set in the 90s. It didn't have a 90s feel. If you would have taken out the mannequin wearing the clothes, because they had two mannequins wearing outfits from each individual movie. One was wearing the
Encino Man, and
Encino
one was
Man,
wearing the uniform from League of Their Own.
And if you would have taken that out, and the posters, I would have never thought this movie was set in the 90s.
There's no 90s music in it, of course, because they couldn't afford that.
Of course they couldn't afford that. But I mean, at least can someone wear, a fucking flannel around their waist? Can the girl have the you know, she kind of did have like the hair, but that could have been any time. That could have been a girl today. I saw that girl in fucking 7-Eleven last weekend with the holes in her fucking stocking and the black hair with
the thing is, they could have just easily said this was a you know, happening now, and they were just in a revival theater. They were just a theater showing old movies.
I guess they couldn't set it now because you were not going to believe that these kids were, you know, repressed Christians if they had Google. Like, you could just Google anything and they could have just gone off in any second, you know. So that wasn't going to work for what was going on. But I like that it was set in the 90s. I like that it was a movie theater. Like, there needs to be more movie theater movies because, you know, I love that one scene in Night of the Comet, you know, the opening, and then you have that other, was it Popcorn Demons?
Popcorn and Demons, both of them. You're right.
Set in the theater. You know, it's an easy movie to make where it's just one location and crazy shit could go. You know, crazy shit can go. Could be happening in the film. And it's kind of like, you know, a play like you're watching a film about people that are, you know, watching films. I like that whole kind of like meta-esque thing going on. But, yeah, the movie didn't do anything for me, you know. And then the manager of the theater turns out to be, of course, a massive pervert.
Yeah, he's like one of the ones that's like championing like everyone be super, you know, don't say anything, don't cuss, don't do any of that. So it's like, and of course, you know, right away, you're like, well, he's going to be a pervert.
Yeah, and he kind of looks like, what's his face that ate all the people?
Dahmer?
He kind of has like an older, like if Dahmer had gotten older, I feel like that would have been his, like he has the glasses and like the weird, like Dockers, you know, weird look to him. Yeah. Right off, like I was like, there's something wrong with this guy. Forget about the Christian part, that's fine. But he's a little off. And he was using he had like a peephole in his office that led to like the woman's bathroom. I don't know why people have weird fucking fetishes. I can't imagine like getting off on like seeing any woman, doesn't matter shape, size, color, anybody, like pulling their pants down and like peeing or taking a shit. That's not exciting to me because there's no boob. I mean, it's just a butt. Like this, you know.
I don't know what I was going to say, too, is I was trying to look at the name of it, and I remember there was a Clive Barker story that would make a great one set in the movie theaters called Son of Celluloid. It's about a demon that goes after people in the theater after the shows all end one night. They could have easily done that. It was all be in one location. It's a very, you know, quick story. So they could have done that, something like that, but nah, they just went with the weirdo porno angle.
Yeah, if you like, you know, if you just want to see, I guess, some titties now and again, this would be the movie for you. There's not really much of it. The movie doesn't really, I mean, right off the bat, you do see the same couple. Oh, that's what happens. You do see the same couple later on having sex again, but they're like, it's really like the demons in disguise of the people that were having sex earlier, because one of the kids that was watching the people having sex, he's looking through the peephole and he's now watching like what you think is the neighbors, but it's really the demon. It's to lure him, you know, and like, it's like, if she's able to lure you and get you hard or like excited in any kind of way, then she supposedly steals your soul, but then everybody came back in the end. It was very iffy, touch and go there.
And they made a big point, like you could tell their big like gore piece that they had for it was, she's gonna like tempt the one guy, so she's like, you know, turn into his perfect woman and is doing this, and it's like she tempts him enough where he's tempted, so she punishes him by exploding his balls, and we get to see a great graphic shot of his balls exploded, and you know,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but like that was the only really big like piece of gore in the whole show, really.
Ooh, then they do like not a tourniquet, but they kind of like,
oh yeah, they put a tourniquet on his balls.
Yeah, they tourniquet his balls and then this like penis. So that was cool too. Because you know what, guys? I mean, that's probably not something some of you want to see, but you know, and I'm all about looking at the girls, you know, body, the form of the woman in the films, in the horror films or any film, to be honest. But it's nice to see, you know, some dick and balls now and again.
Even when they're exploded?
Even when they're fucking exploding dick and balls. We should just name this episode Exploding Dick and Balls and see how many people, you know, listen to this actual episode, even though nothing is happening regarding that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene was very graphic.
Yeah, and like I said, the end of it doesn't really make sense because, like you said, I don't know, everybody, she stole their souls, but yet they're back, and everybody seems okay. Like, no one really, except for one person, dies. That's it. The rest of them all come out of it. So you're like, oh, well, that was really kind of pointless.
Yeah, and then the whole theater's a mess. How they gonna explain that? There's not gonna be any answers per se, but you see, they kind of went and set it up for a sequel because they trapped Lilith back in the celluloid in the film, and they took the film with them.
Yeah, so they can, if this one does well enough, they can make a sequel to it. But
so this is like the 90s Blair Witch, but it's a porno.
Porno Witch?
I keep saying Blair Witch. The Ring. It's the 90s The Ring, because now maybe it's going to get out. He's going to show it to somebody mistakenly, or someone's going to find it in his... He's going to go to college, and he has to take it with him, because obviously he has to like now fucking drug this shit out into like with him for the rest of his life, so he can ensure that this demon, woman is not going to come out.
Just throw it in the foundation of a building they're putting up sometime.
Just
fine.
bury it and like under fucking McDonald's. That shit is never going to go out of business.
Yeah,
never.
So yeah, this one I agree. It's a one knife film. There's the one gore scene in it that's unique. I'll give it that. But even that I wasn't that interested in. So
there's two scenes I do want to discuss before we move on to the next film. The one scene is when the perv manager gets his, and he kind of Lilith rips his dick off.
Yeah, and then just throws it down. And man, let me tell you, that guy was packing.
Yeah, he was packing. I was like, why was he a pervert, like, looking through he could have gotten any lady, I guess. Like, what the heck? But I guess he's supposed to be like, oh, I'm a good Christian guy and not into sex. I'm not,
I'm taping everybody peeing in the bathroom.
I'm a sinner. I'm not a sinner, but I am a sinner kind of thing. Whatever. And then the other scene was, you mentioned that Lilith became like the guy's like fantasy girl, like his dream girl. Yeah, so she was just being herself, which was the same, outfit she's wearing the whole time, low cut,
like a fur cape kind of thing.
Yeah, very sexual, weird cave woman kind of thing. I don't know. She had some weird shit going on.
Yeah.
And he was holding himself. He was like, no, because he was straight edge. He was straight edge, and his straight edge fucking like the X in his hand and his straight edge powers. We're gonna, gave him fucking powers. He was like, no, bitch, I'm not gonna get fucking hard. I'm not gonna get excited by you. But then all of a sudden, she's wearing like a leather jacket, and she's smoking multiple cigarettes. And he's like, nicotine. And then he gets hard. And that I thought was weird, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that have like addictions for certain things, but I've never seen anyone get hard
at the thought of a cigarette.
Yeah, or the thought of a cigarette. He must have really fucking like did he want to fuck the cigarette, or did he just really just want to? He just wanted the cigarette. I was kind of confused on what he wanted.
I didn't know what was going on with that either.
So that concludes our review on Porno.
Let's move on to a much better film now, which is His House.
Congratulations. You're being released as asylum seekers, not as citizens, not yet. You will be sent to a home of our choosing. You must not move from this address.
We are good people.
Whether or not you're good people, it's not me that needs convincing.
It's a palace.
This entire house is just for us.
It's gonna be nice, you're gonna be happy. As long as you can get along, fit in, be one of the good ones.
This is our home.
All I can taste is the metal.
We'll get used to it.
I saw something in the dark. You have felt it too.
You having problems with the property?
This is what they want. They like to see us crazy. Let them send us back.
how quickly you forget everything we went through to get here. We are not going back. There is no witch.
What is that?
Rats.
Rats did this.
You went outside.
This is my house! This is my house! This is my house! My house!
You don't wonder what it tells me. It says I should be afraid of you.
Is it weird that every time I hear I hear his house, I think of that song like, oh, what is it?
Our House?
Our House, yes. In the middle of the
street.
Yes. I wasn't going to continue singing. I didn't think anyone would want to hear me sing. But yes, that. Yeah, I can't help but think about that fucking song when I hear this movie. This movie came out in 2020. It was also another VOD, you know, because of all the craziness that's going on in the world. And there's, you know, if you guys are watching Lovecraft Country, one of the sisters from Lovecraft Country, say that like 29 times.
Yeah, that's hard to do. The one who plays Ruby, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes, she's in it, and her name is Wanmi Musaka, and Sophie Darushu is in it, and Matt Smith is in it. Doctor Who is in it, so I'm not gonna take away from the fact that, you know, obviously he's the only light-skinned person in the film. I think there's maybe some other people, but he's the most important person. The light-skinned person in the film, most recognizable.
He's the white guy in the movie.
But when I see Matt Smith, and I'm sorry, Matt Smith, all I think about is like, obviously Doctor Who. So I'm like, Doctor Who's in this bitch.
And they're even in England, so, you know.
He's living it up. I'm like, did he just come back to like help these people? So his house is a very interesting film. How did you feel about it?
I generally liked it. It's about two immigrants. They come to England and they're seeking asylum
from South Sudan.
Yeah, and they had a very rough time getting there. But, you know, people were shooting at them all the way out of the country. They were on a boat that capsized. They had a child with them, and the child drowned. And after a long time of being in what looks like a very crappy detention center, they finally agreed to put them on the process to start citizenship. And they release them and tell them they can have this house. And this house is like a fucking nightmare. It looks like it should have been condemned years ago. They're like, you have to live in this house. You have to prove that you can live here and adjust to society. We're going to give you, I think they said, like, what was it, 40 pounds a week for groceries, and you can't get a job, you can't do anything, you just need to figure it out here and work yourself into the community. And the house looks like I said, it should have been condemned a long time ago. The doors falling off the hinges, there's like exposed like walls everywhere, the electricity doesn't work. I'm pretty sure the raccoons had a hotel going on in the upstairs. It looks bad. I would not live there. I'd rather live on the street than that house.
Yeah, the film has a lot of layers. There's definitely social commentary within the film. You're gonna whoever.
Oh, and spoiler alert: the house is haunted as fuck.
Okay, well, the house is not haunted. Okay, so we're gonna get to that. We'll think. You tell me what you think the movie's about. It's one of those where like.
No, I'm just saying. At first, you're like, the house is haunted as fuck because as soon as they move in, they start seeing shit, and you're like, well, this is going to be bad news because this is an answer to the question of why don't they just leave. Almost every haunted house movie, the first thing you ask is like, why don't you just leave? If I'm sitting at the dinner table right now, we're recording this podcast, and I look up and I see on the stairs there's a fucking hook-handed ghost standing there, and he goes, get the fuck out. We're packing our shit and we're going. We're bye. There's a moving truck out there tomorrow. The rest of the shit's in it. We're out.
See, but didn't you learn from Insidious the fucking ghost is probably attached to a person and not the house. So you can move and it's going to move with them.
We're going to find that out because I don't stay in the hook-handed killer's house, you know? When the Candyman starts tapping on the window saying to move, I'm fucking moving.
Okay. Well, they do, they are given, like Shad said, very strict restrictions. And if they, don't follow, if they break these restrictions, then they're going to face deportation, which is something obviously they don't want. And now these are people that are coming from nothing. So, yes, the house is in shambles. But to them, it's a fucking mansion. Like, even Matt Smith himself is like, I don't even have a house this big. Yeah, the house is, like, not the best house, but, you can fix it up.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they were allowed to, like, start fixing it up, if they gave them money and said, fix this place up however you want and it's yours, okay. But they really didn't even give them that. They gave them, like, $40 a week for groceries. And I gotta tell you, I don't know how far it goes in England.
I think that's like $70 or $80 here.
You're in England, so you're spending £40 there.
Yeah, but it's only for food and clothes. They don't have to pay rent. They don't have to pay water. They don't have to pay electricity. They don't have to pay for any of it. It's all given to them. So just for food and clothes, I think that's pretty livable. I don't know.
I don't know, for two people, that's a lot. You'd have to get a lot of cheap stuff to eat for $40 a week.
You gotta go to, like, the freaking British, like, the European Dollar General.
The Save-A-Lot?
The Save-A-Lot.
Ooh, yeah, that's the worst one right there.
So, so Bowl, who is the male character, he tries to assimilate. He, goes to, like, a pub and starts singing, like, the football songs. He even goes as far as to see a Caucasian model image on the wall and literally buys the same outfit that this model was wearing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to really...
And he's not like a uneducated person or anything like that. He worked at a bank in his home country.
Exactly.
So he's got skills. He could work at a bank here. Yeah. But they're just lumping him like he's unskilled labor.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where, well, I mean, yeah, he doesn't. Well, he's not allowed to. They're not allowed to work. They have to assimilate themselves first.
But they're like treating him like he couldn't get a job somewhere. He's an educated person.
Yeah.
He could go get a job at a bank here with a little training, be up to speed again.
Yeah, and they spoke English. Like, it wasn't like they weren't able to speak English. They were able to speak English. And Raul, the wife, she's holding her culture very close to her. She doesn't go out as much. She's not really, as Matt Smith has suggested, she's not really assimilating like the husband is trying to. And he's kind of losing himself. But while all of this is happening...
Meanwhile, ghosts.
Shad said that, there's this ghost. And it's not until the wife, Rawls, tells her husband this story that she had heard when she was a child on how, and I'm not going to go into the whole story, but basically a man was trying to come up in the world and he was stealing things that didn't belong to him. And he stole from the wrong person. And that person technically wasn't a person. It was an abbeth. It was like a cultural, like they're kind of like a ghost that prevented him from stealing. Like he took the ghost, essentially killed the guy. He took his soul because it was like, you're trying to steal from me, but haha, I got you, bitch. Like, no, that's not happening. I'm stealing your soul now, kind of thing. And when you take something that doesn't belong to you, this thing gets conjured up, is what happens. So in telling that story, you're like, oh, okay, maybe that's what's going on in the house. Because you don't really know. She's just telling him the story. There's not like a concrete, like, oh, okay, this is why we're being fucking haunted kind of thing. And it's haunting like it's not even like I'm going to wait until nighttime and you're like under the covers. This shit is happening in the fucking daylight. It's happening all the time.
That's when you can go the ghosts are hardcore, when that shit comes out in the daylight.
And they start seeing their daughter. And I'm not going to really get into, because the movie, it came out the day before Halloween. So it's fairly new-esque. We usually do like spoilers and stuff. But I think that you should definitely go out and see the film. It's an interesting film. It's not your ordinary horror movie.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more on its mind. It's got a little bit more to say.
Yeah, there's definitely some meat in the bones. You will see a monster, so to speak.
Oh yeah, a pretty good one.
Yeah, pretty good monster. So it's not one of those where it's going to be like ambiguous and whatever. It has some pretty intense like scenes, and there are some jump scares. I would say if I had to take, there was at least like probably 3 good jump scares from what I can remember. But we really enjoyed the film, and definitely, you know, it's not a lot of films came out, and it didn't make our best of.
We hadn't seen it yet, I don't think, at the time.
No, we had seen it. We had seen it. It didn't make our best of because it's on a lot of people's thing, and we wanted to choose different films that we enjoyed more. Not that we didn't enjoy this one, we did. It's definitely one of those films, like it's a thinking horror movie. So if that's not your thing, then maybe just skip this one. But we would recommend that you do watch it because it is an experience.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'd give it a 3.5 out of 4 knives.
Yeah, I definitely would give it 3.5 out of 4 knives as well. I concur, sir. But yeah, who knows what this 2021 is going to bring us, like horror movie wise. I know that there's, you know, we got like Candyman. Right? Is that going to come out?
Supposedly, I don't think any of this stuff's coming out. They're supposed to start some of the major releases in March, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to be pushed back.
Whatever happened to that one with like, the deer one with, not Renee Zellweger, it was,
what's the name of that one? Antlers or something?
Yeah, Antlers. There's a lot of movies that got obviously pushed back. But like, how much can they push it back? You can only hold it for so long. Like, you don't know when this is gonna end.
Yeah, I think they should just put some of these out next year. Just put them on VOD and be done with it. Do you like some of those things like they did with Mulan or whatever? Put them out and charge a little extra for them for a while, and then after a while, just release them onto like Netflix or HBO and whatever.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode where we covered Porno and His House.
This is going to be a fun one for tags because everybody's going to look at this and be like, oh shit, they're covering a porno?
In His House? What? We should just put Porno in His House and then bam, tags.
Done.
Just bajillion people are going to be listening to this specific one. Both of these films, Netflix actually released His House. They picked it up and they released it.
And Porno is on Shudder.
And Porno's on Shudder. So that's where you can catch these films and let us know. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Did you see them?
Let us know what you think.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. And stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.